At the end of the day, it's not about how much money you make. It's about how intentional you are with your money. A person who makes a lot but spends a lot is less effective than a person who doesn't make a lot but also doesn't spend a lot. It all comes down to being intentional. Are you thinking through each purchase? Are you leveraging your money to get ahead? Regardless of how much you make, as long as you're intentional with your money, you will see results. In today's episode, I'm sharing how to be intentional with your money so that you can get ahead. Welcome to the City Girl Savings Podcast. I'm Rhea Reeves, founder and finance coach of City Girl Savings. I turned my life around with budgeting many years ago, and now I'm on a mission to help others do the same. I fully believe that you can enjoy your life on a budget, and this weekly show will focus on the intersection of money and the city girl lifestyle. Join me every week along with some special guests as I share my experiences, advice, and guidance on navigating life and money as an experience-loving millennial. Now, before I dive into being intentional with your money, let's just talk about intentionality for a minute. Outside of money, just period, when you are intentional, you choose to make decisions and take action based on what's important to you. So being intentional means getting clear up front about what you want to achieve and why. So make sure you take some time to think about your goals, think about your values, think about the things that matter most to you. That way, your decisions can be intentional around the things that truly do matter. Now, in terms of your money, being intentional means you make financial decisions based on what matters to you. So what exactly does it look like to be intentional with your money? Well, first off, you are fully conscious, fully aware of what happens with your money. So when you're intentional with your money, it means that you are aware, you are alert, you know what is going on with the ins and outs of your money. You know what your situation looks like, whether it's good or bad. You know what your net worth is, whether it's positive or negative. You know what your total debt is. You know what your total assets are. You know where your accounts are. You know that you have multiple investment accounts, multiple retirement accounts, different savings accounts. You understand your situation as a whole. Essentially, you are very familiar with what is happening in your overall financial situation. Now, being intentional with your money also looks like you being mindful of how your money is earned and spent. So being intentional with your money means that you have clarity around what is happening in your day-to-day financial situation. So not just the overall situation, but also the nitty-gritty. You know what money is coming in. You know what money is being spent. You know how much money is being saved. You know how much money is going towards your debt. You are conscious of your financial decisions because you understand how it will impact your bottom line. And being intentional with your money means you think through your money decisions. So when you think through your financial or money decisions, big or small, you are able to assess if you are about to spend money on something you want or something you need. So you are able to identify, is this something that will help me reach my goals, or is it something that fulfills a desire? You are able to make that assessment. Whether you choose to make the purchase or not, you are intentional and conscious of that decision. Now, you are also able to tell yourself when you should or shouldn't be spending money because you are aware of your situation. So you really think through each purchase because you're intentional about what you want your money to accomplish for you. I know for me, when I finally curbed my desire to spend, make sure you listen to episode 6 if you want to hear about that, it was because I started really thinking about where my money was going. And it wasn't going to the things that were aligned with my goals. So I made the conscious, intentional decision to say no more. That had to stop. And over time, it got easier and easier to make those decisions, to decide that the purchase was something that wasn't helping me get to my goals. Therefore, I didn't need it, so I could say no to it. So let's talk about how to be more intentional with your money. You know what it looks like. You know that it means you understand your financial situation as a whole, but also on a nitty-gritty level. So let's talk about being more intentional. The first step to be more intentional with your money is to understand what your current situation looks like. And the best way to do that is with a budget. You know that I am always going to advocate for a budget. A budget is literally your financial lifeline. Now, if the thought of budgeting terrifies you, then let's just take a step back, okay? Instead of saying, okay, I'm going to make a budget, just create a list of all the money you spend on a monthly basis. Whatever those bills and necessities are, just make a list, include the amounts, put that number to the side. Ask yourself, does the money coming in, so your total monthly income, does it cover that number? Does it cover all of your monthly bills and necessities? If so, then you have the ability to make progress in your situation. And now you can move forward accordingly. Now, if your total monthly income does not cover your monthly expenses, then you need to find additional means of income, okay? At least you know. I know that may not be something that you want or you're happy about, but when you know better, you can do better. At least now you know that you're behind every month, and that could help explain why you're not feeling secure in your financial situation. That can shed light on what is happening with your finances, and now that you know, you can make adjustments to correct that. Being intentional with your money means you think through every purchase. Okay, so when you know what your situation looks like because you have your budget, you have your list, and you start allocating your income to the things that need to be taken care of, you can start thinking through purchases that are not included in your budget. Being intentional with your money means you understand how unbudgeted for expenses can impact your situation. Whether you make the purchase or not, being able to think about it is certainly a key step. So if you know that you are tempted or wanting to spend money on something that you didn't plan for, you can make the decision of, will this help me get to where I need to go? Will this deter me from my goals? Will this be a very small hiccup in the road? You can assess that and then proceed accordingly. Sometimes it's okay to spend money that's not budgeted for. As long as you can course correct quickly, that's okay. But if it's something that will totally derail you from the things that matter most, be okay with saying no and not spending the money. Are you tired of wondering which moves to make next with your money? Do you need some guidance on whether to pay off debt, save, or focus on something else? Get my free Money Moves packet today and start making impactful money moves instantly. Go to citygirlsavings.com/moves to download your Money Moves packet now. Another way to be intentional with your money is to ask yourself, what would Rhea do? Now, this is a tip that actually comes from my clients. Every time they're about to spend money, they ask themselves, what would Rhea do? Or what would Rhea say about this purchase? It's like they literally hear my voice in their heads, guiding them through the spending decision process. Now, as a budget coach, that is music to my ears. So if you are working through identifying needs and wants, if you are trying to be more intentional with your purchases, ask yourself, what would Rhea do? What would a budget coach do? Would they tell me to spend this? Would they scold me for spending this? Ask yourself those questions. Now, whether you want to leverage me or some other finance professional, you can still use this tip to help you think through your spending. What would a finance professional do? Would they buy that shirt, knowing that they still have debt that needs to be paid off? Just some food for thought. Another way to be intentional with your money is to leverage cash for your spending. Sometimes the temptation to spend can just be too overwhelming to overcome, and this is especially true in the early stages. How I curbed my desire to spend was the ability to overcome the temptation to spend when I shouldn't have. And one thing that made that a little bit easier was giving myself limits. I can only spend X amount, and then I would try to come in under that amount if I spent anything at all. If you're the type of person who can't seem to keep your debit and credit cards in your wallet, you're swipe happy, then the solution is to leave them at home. Start using cash for all of your spending, with the exception of bills. This will make it harder for you to overspend. And when the cash is gone, no more spending. If you need that physical limit, cash can be your friend. The next way to be intentional with your money is to set intentional money goals. Visualize what you want your dream life to look like. Now, plan how to get there. So make sure you listen to episode 11 to learn more about visualization. But when you are setting your money goals, make sure you include a specific time frame and an amount. Okay, so use the SMART criteria. SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time specific. Have all of those characteristics in your goals so that you know that they are the best they can be. And then review your budget to make sure your goals are realistic. So your budget will be able to tell you what you can afford to save or put towards your goals. If your budget says after all of your bills and expenses and priorities are taken care of, you have $500 left over, it's not realistic to say, I need to save $1,000 a month. So make sure you leverage your budget to help you really set those realistic goals. Also, make sure you're not stretching your resources too thin. Give yourself some room for things to come up. Okay, so if you budget down to the penny, that can be a recipe for disaster if something unexpected pops up. Leave yourself a little bit of wiggle room just in case, and if nothing pops up, that's just more that gets to be saved. Next, make sure you have a why behind each goal. So whatever goals you set, make sure that they are truly important to you. Why do you want to reach this goal? What will life look like when you reach this goal? How will things be better when you reach this goal? When you have a why behind your goal, you're more likely to work towards it. And then finally, write your money goals down every day. In fact, whatever goals you have, write them down every day. Keep them front and center. Having your goals in front of you every single day keeps them top of mind so that you can constantly make sure you're working towards them. Now, once you have your goals set, start associating your spending with your goals. So when you're intentional with your money, you are aware of how spending impacts your current and future situation. If you want to be more intentional with your money, start associating your spending with your goals. So ask yourself questions like, does spending money on this thing help me reach my goals faster? If the answer is yes, then it makes sense to make the purchase. If the answer is no, then it's something that may not help you in the long run. Your goals matter. Your goals mean something. Material possessions don't. And then finally, practice gratitude for what you currently have. I think wrapping us up with how to be intentional with your money, this is a very important concept, practicing gratitude. It's something that should be done in every area of your life, not just finances. But in terms of money, appreciating what you currently have opens the door for you to receive more. Think about all of the things that are going well in your life. At least you have money coming in. At least you have food on the table. Now, I'm not saying don't focus on where you want to be, but don't let where you want to be make you feel unhappy with where you currently are. Leverage it as motivation, but use gratitude to keep your spirits high. There is a lot to be grateful for, so don't lose sight of that. Now, the good news? With everything I shared today, the amount of money you make is irrelevant. Everyone can be more intentional with their money. Everyone can start implementing these things today. So, how will you be more intentional with your money? Thank you so much for tuning in to City Girl Savings today. I hope you feel empowered and inspired to master your money as you make your way to your dream life. Make sure you subscribe so you're the first to know when a new episode comes out. I truly value your thoughts and feedback, so please leave a review and let me know how this podcast has impacted you. Can't wait to chat soon and make it a great day.